What's wrong with me?
Walking slows this process, but it doesn't reverse it.
What happened to my legs? I am Dr. Noah Jupe, a London-based physiotherapist who has spent more than 2 decades helping people over 60 regain their strength, confidence, and independence in every step. I have met hundreds of people like Bernard, a 6-7-year-old man who still walks 30 minutes around the park every morning, thinking that it is enough to keep him healthy. But then, one day, he calls me, his voice full of frustration. "Noah, I can't get up from a chair without using my hands. I feel like I am losing the ability to do the smallest things." His story is not uncommon. Many people believe that walking is enough. In fact, walking is great for the heart and the spirit. I don't deny that. But for people over 60, walking is not enough to maintain muscles, bones, and balance. Once you hit 60, your body starts losing 3 to 8% of its muscle mass every decade. That means you get a little weaker every year, even if you work out every day.
Walking slows this process, but it doesn't reverse it.
And then the cruel truth is, you can still fall and break bones, even if you go for a walk every morning. I remember the first time we met. Margaret, a 6'4" woman, a former music teacher.
I can teach a choir to sing, but I can't get up from the toilet without holding on to the wall.
She walked 30 minutes every morning, ate healthily, but remained weak. 3 months later, she sent me a photo. She was climbing a hill with her 2 grandchildren, smiling brightly. What had changed? It wasn't a miracle. Just 3 simple exercises, total 5 minutes, 3 times a week. These 3 movements are the foundation of what I and many rehabilitation professionals in the UK call non-negotiables after 60. If you ignore them, you are allowing your body to slip away faster than you think. I'll tell you the details, each exercise, why they work, and how to get started at home without a gym. But before we get into it, I want you to think about this. You may still be walking every morning, but if one day you lose your balance when stepping off a curb or can't get up from a chair without holding on, then all those steps will be meaningless. What surprises many people is that walking does not challenge balance because you always move on a flat surface, by inertia, not facing unexpected situations like when you have to bend down, reach high, or get a slight bump on the shoulder. And walking also does not create enough impact force for bones to maintain strength, leading to osteoporosis, the leading cause of hip fractures in the elderly and loss of the ability to live independently. But don't worry, it's never too late to change. The human body, no matter what age, has the ability to adapt if properly stimulated. Margaret, Bernard, and dozens of my other patients have proven that. These 3 exercises don't require expensive equipment or a fancy gym. All you need is a chair, a resistance band, and a few minutes a day. Before I show you exactly what those 3 exercises are, I want you to do a little favor.
If you are over 60 or have parents or friends who are that age, follow this channel, like, and leave comment number 1 if you want me to send you detailed instructions.
It may only take a few seconds, but you might just save someone from a life-changing fall. I still remember clearly the first time I taught Mr. Bernard to do the first exercise, what I always called the independent insurance of old age, squat. It sounds simple, but it is the movement that determines whether you can get out of bed, out of a chair, out of the toilet, without help. I looked at him and said, "Bernard, try to get up from that chair, but without using your hands." He looked at me half smiling, half embarrassed, and tried. His legs trembled, his knees wobbled slightly, and he had to push himself up with his hands immediately. "I can't believe it," he said. "I used to walk every morning and now it's so hard to get up." I smiled. "Because you only walk." That's the problem a lot of people over 60 have. They keep up a regular walking routine, but don't exercise the muscles responsible for standing, sitting, lifting, supporting movements, things we do dozens of times a day. If you lose that ability, you don't just become weaker, you lose autonomy. I began to instruct him. Stand up straight, feet shoulder-width apart, toes slightly turned out, head up, eyes forward. Imagine you want to sit down in a chair right behind you, not slouch. Push your hips back first, then bend your knees. Keep your back straight, lower yourself slowly. When you stand up, inhale, then push through your heels. He did it slowly, a little awkwardly, but I could see the muscles in his thighs and hips starting to work again, muscles that had been dormant for years. I told him to stop before it hurt, not to push his body too hard. The key, I said, is not to do too much, but to do it right. After a few weeks, he could do 10 without holding onto a chair. 6 weeks later, he stood up from the living room chair. When I saw him do it, I knew he had regained his balance, an independent part that many others have lost. Squat is the simplest yet most powerful exercise. It works the quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and core, the most important muscle groups that help maintain balance, stabilize the knees and hips, and prevent falls. A study published in 2023 on Journal of Aging and Physical Activity showed that people over 60 years old who squatted twice a week for 12 weeks increased 3–4% leg strength, improved the ability to get up from a chair 40%, while the walking-only group only increased by 8%. That number speaks for itself. I often recommend that beginners use a real chair. Place the chair behind you, squat down slightly until your buttocks touch the chair, then stand up. You don't have to sit all the way up. This exercise feels safe and helps you trust your body. Inhale as you lower, exhale as you stand up. Once you get used to it, you can remove the chair and do the exercise squat. Lower yourself down without touching the chair. For people with knee problems, leaning against a wall and sliding slowly down to 90 degrees, holding for 10–20 seconds, also has similar benefits. I always tell patients, don't worry if you can only get down a few inches at first. The important thing is feel the body working. Keep at it, and you'll see the difference week after week. Margaret, the woman I mentioned earlier, couldn't stand up without holding onto a wall. After 6 weeks, she could squat 10 times in a row and still smile. I never thought I'd enjoy sitting down and standing up so much, she joked. If you're reading this, try this now. Get up from your chair without using your hands. If you find it difficult, don't worry. It's not a failure. Its signal shows your body needs help. Start with 2 sessions per week, 2 sets of 8 reps, and work your way up. Once Mr. Bernard was comfortable with squats, I introduced the second exercise, resistance band rows, also known as resistance band pull. This is an exercise that I jokingly call the posture guardian. If squats help your legs regain strength to stand, rows are the exercise that helps you keep your posture straight, open your shoulders, and breathe deeply, more easily. I often tell my patients, a person with a straight back, open shoulders, and a broad chest is fighting aging with posture. In Mako looking apses Christine from the rest best. I tell you about Margaret, who once couldn't stand up without holding onto a wall. After 6 weeks of squats, her legs felt stronger, but I noticed that her upper back was still slightly rounded, her shoulders slumped forward, and her neck slightly hunched, the result of decades of sitting at work, driving, and hunching over to read. I feel shorter, she said. I laughed. It's not because of old age. It's because my upper back muscles have fallen asleep. It's read of what now? And said about as a breeding for you now. Most people over 60 I meet have the same condition. They walk a lot, but walking without using back muscles does not open the shoulders and does not help posture. Gradually, the shoulders round, the chest contracts, making breathing less deep, even loss of balance while moving. When you are hunched forward, you are more likely to stumble and fall without having time to react. Rows solve all that. I showed Margaret a blue resistance band, which cost just over 10 pounds at the sports shop. I tied it securely around a doorknob and said, stand up straight, feet hip-width apart, knees slightly bent. Hold the ends of the band in your hands, arms extended in front of you. Now pull your elbows back, keeping them close to your body, as if you were trying to hold a pen between your shoulder blades. Pause for a second, then slowly extend your arms. The first time, she just laughed, finding the movement too light. But after just 10 times, I saw her shoulders shake, her breathing deepen. It feels weird, she said, like someone just kneaded my spine. That's the power of row. It awakens the entire upper back muscle group. From the shoulders, shoulder blades to the spinal muscles, the muscles responsible for keeping you upright and confident. I told her, if you could only do one upper body exercise, choose this one. And that's what it was. Dr. Grayson Wickham, a London-based physiotherapist, once asserted, if I could only give someone over 61 upper body exercise, I would choose the row. It reverses the damage of years of poor posture. Science proves it too. People who practice rowing regularly have lower back pain relief, improved balance, and fewer falls. Because when your back muscles are strong, your upper body is more stable, and your center of gravity is more stable. Furthermore, when your posture is improved, your lungs can expand more, you can breathe more deeply, and your heart can work more efficiently. 6 weeks later, Margaret sent me another photo. Standing in the park, shoulders back, posture straight, face full of energy. "Now I walk and feel light as a feather," she wrote. When your back is strong, the world suddenly feels easier. I recommend starting with a light resistance band for the first 3 weeks, doing 2 to 3 sets of 10-12 reps 2 to 3 times a week. Once you get used to it, you can move on to a heavier band or add a third set. For those who don't have a band, you can substitute 2 water bottles. Hold them in your hands, bend slightly, and pull them towards your hips. It feels almost the same. If you're reading this, try standing up straight, opening your shoulders, pulling your elbows back, and taking a deep breath. Just a small movement, and you'll feel the difference immediately. Your body will remember the feeling of opening, something it had forgotten for so long. Once Bernard's legs were stronger from squats, and his back was open and stable from rope pull-ups, I knew it was time to add the final piece, one-legged balance exercise. Many people laugh when I say this is the most important exercise, because at first glance it seems so simple that anyone would think they could do it. But then I say, stand on one leg, hold for 10 seconds. And almost everyone has to put their foot down after only 3 seconds. I looked at Bernard and said softly, "If you can't balance for 10 seconds, it's not that your body is weak, it's that your nervous system has forgotten how to control stability." He was silent for a moment, then nodded. "I've fallen twice just because I tripped over a rug," he said. And he had no idea that just standing on one leg for a few minutes a day could reduce the risk of falls by nearly half in people over 60 years old. I'm not exaggerating. A 2022 study on British Journal of Sports Medicine has shown that people who cannot stand on one leg for more than 10 seconds are twice as likely to die in the next 10 years.com, paired to someone with good balance. It sounds terrible, but it's true, because balance is not just the ability to stand still, but also a sign that your nervous, muscular, and spatial systems are all working together. I instructed him, stand close to a wall or table, touch it lightly with one hand for safety. Shift your weight to your right leg and lift your left leg a few inches off the ground. Don't lift it too high. Just feel your body trying to hold it still. Hold for 15 seconds, then switch legs. He trembled slightly at first, his eyes darting out of habit. I reminded him, don't look down at your feet, look straight ahead, pick a fixed point. After just a few sessions, he was holding it for 20 seconds without touching the wall. I told him that this exercise should be done every day, without equipment or space. Do it while brushing your teeth, making tea, or waiting for the kettle to boil, I said. The magic is that when you practice balance, muscles around the hips, knees, ankles, and abdominal muscles are activated, helping you react faster when losing your tower. It is zeroly warning cyst against falls. Margaret also did this exercise. At first, she needed to hold on to the armrests of a chair, but after 8 weeks, she could stand on each leg for 30 seconds, even trying to close her eyes for a few seconds without falling over. When I asked her how she felt, she smiled. I feel like a young person again. My body is listening to me again. I usually teach patients to progress in stages. The first 2 weeks hold for 10-15 seconds with a light touch. The third and fourth weeks increase to 30 seconds, and the 5th week onwards remove the hand. Then you can try increasing the difficulty, standing on a soft pillow, turning your head slightly, or folding your arms across your chest. Each session only takes 3 minutes, but the effect is invaluable. I always say, you can't completely avoid every fall in life, but you can prepare to not fall hard. That's what balance training brings: reflexes, stability, and confidence in your own feet. 3 exercises, squats, pull-ups, and one-leg stands, are the 3 pillars of strength, posture, and balance. They cost nothing, don't require a gym, and only take 15 minutes per session. Do them twice a week, adding a few minutes each day for balance exercises, and you'll see a dramatic change in your body in just a few months. Bernard can now climb the stairs in the house without holding on to the banister. Margaret takes him for walks on steep paths without fear of falling. And I see the smiles of people who once thought that old age was nothing but weakness. If you are in your 60 seconds or have a loved one who is, I urge you to start today, not tomorrow, not when you have more free time. Just a chair, a resistance band, and a few minutes a day, you're giving yourself another decade of freedom. Thank you for following this far. If this story has made you realize something valuable, please click follow, share with a friend or relative, and leave a comment. Number 1, if you want me to send detailed instructions for each exercise, I am Dr. Noah Jupe, and I believe that age doesn't take away your power. It's just waiting for you to reawaken it.